Howdy, guys. Welcome to Sanctity with Sam. I'm planning on doing a series on St. Josemaria Escriva's a spiritual classic called The Way. So today, I'm going to do an episode on the general composition of the book, St. Josemaria Escriva's Life and Path to Sainthood. St. Josemaria was a Spanish priest born on January 19th, 1902, at Barbastro, Spain. He was the second of six children. When he was 2 years old, it's said that he suffered from a disease, and most doctors thought he would perish soon. His mother, hoping for a cure, spoke into a statue venerated as Our Lady of Angels, which is dated back to the 11th century. He was thankfully cured. In 1915, when he was 17 years old, he relocated to the town of Longoro, Spain. St. Josemaria knew that he had some sort of calling from God during this relocation when he saw footprints left in the snow by a monk walking barefoot. 7 years later, he became an ordained deacon 5 days before Christmas in 1924. On March 28th, a year later, he became a priest. Then 3 years later, he went to Central University to study law. After his education, he became a private tutor and chaplain to the Foundation of St. Isabel. Sometime in October 1928, he saw Opus Dei, which is Latin for work of God. He saw something that could sanctify Catholics in doing their secular and daily tasks, which you will see later played a major role in his life and writing of the Way. He founded it later in 1928, and Pope Pius XII gave papal approval of the order in 1950. Escriva continued his ministry in helping people to become holy while doing their secular daily work, and in 1946 he moved to Rome, 4 years prior to the papal approval of his order. Then 2 years later, in 1950, Pope Pius XII gave him the honor of honorary domestic prelate, which gave him the title of Monsignor Josemaria Escriva. He was a consultant for two congregations, the Congregation for Seminaries and Universities, which is now the Congregation for Catholic Education, and the Pontifical Commission for the authentic interpretation of the Code of Canon Law. He was also an honorary member of the Pontifical Academy of Theology. We recall that earlier St. Josemaria Escriva was cured of an illness through the veneration of the statue of Our Lady of Angels. St. Josemaria, out of gratitude, built a major shrine at that location and is still to this day the headquarters of Opus Dei. The Second Vatican Council confirmed what St. Josemaria was saying since the inception of his order, that there is a universal call to holiness and sainthood. In 1953, he founded the Collegium Romanum Sancta Maria, the Roman College of St. Mary. He died on June 26, 1975. He is a patron saint of people with diabetes, he himself having type 1 diabetes, and Opus Dei, the order he founded. Just a disclaimer. This next section is essentially all quotes, so get ready to see the same format, but it's very enriching. I highly recommend you still continue watching. Church officials and many people saw his sanctity and his unique spirituality. In 1943, while St. Josemaria Escriva was still alive, the Bishop of Madrid said in a report to Rome about St. Josemaria, the distinctive notes of his character are his energy and his capacity for organization and government, with an ability to pass unnoticed. He has shown himself most obedient to the church hierarchy. One very special hallmark of his priestly work is the way he fosters, in speech and in writing, in public and in private, love for Holy Mother Church and for the Roman Pontiff. The comment about the ability to pass unnoticed we find very striking and true when we read the Way. St. Josemaria takes the little, unnoticed things in life and says, "This is how we are sanctified." There's a quote that I'm paraphrasing here, but he says, "You complain to me about all these little pains and splinters. Well, what a glorious cross all these splinters will build." The same bishop, writing to a Jesuit province, said, Saint is Father Escriva is an exemplary priest, chosen by God for apostolic enterprises. Humble, prudent, self-sanctifying in work, docile to his bishop, of outstanding intelligence, and with a very solid spiritual and doctrinal formation. Again, the same bishop also stated, to think that Father Josemaria Escriva is capable of creating anything that is secret is absurd. He's as frank and open as a child. St. Josemaria, being called frank and open as a child, is, I think, one of the most commendable things of his character, because recall the words of Christ. Amen, I say to you, unless you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. St. Josemaria Escriva's sanctity was clear to all who knew him. His Holiness Saint Pope Paul VI called Saint Josemaria Escriva's sanctity extraordinary, commenting, "He's one of those men who has received the most charisms, supernatural gifts, and have corresponded most generously with them. Now, let's take a look at his prayer life and how it enabled him to live this life of extraordinary sanctity. On the centennial of St. Josemaria's birthday, Cardinal Ratzinger, the future Pope Benedict XVI, said of him, I have always been impressed by Josemaria Escriva's explanation of the name Opus Dei. An explanation gives us an idea of the founder's spiritual life. Escriva knew he had found something, but he was also conscious that what he was founding was not his own work, that he himself did not invent anything, and that the Lord was merely making use of him. So it was not his work, but Opus Dei, God's work. This gives us to understand that he was in a permanent dialogue, real contact with the one who created us and works for us. If therefore St. Josemaria speaks of the common vocation to holiness, it seems to me that he's basically drawing from his own personal experience, not having done incredible things himself, but having let God work. Therefore, a renewal, a force for good was born in the world, even if human weaknesses will always remain. In a hom- in the homily at St. Josemaria Escriva's canonization, St. Pope John Paul II said, a master in the practice of prayer, which he considered to be an extraordinary weapon to redeem the world. It's not a paradox, but a perennial truth. The fruitfulness of the apostolate lies above all in prayer and intense, constant sacramental life. In Pope John Paul II's decree of canonization, he refers to five brief prayers or aspirations of Escriva, uh, through which one can trace the entire life story of Blessed Josemaria Escriva. He was barely 16 when he began to recite the first two aspirations, Domini ut vidum, Lord, that I may see, and Dominia ut sit, Lady, that it might be. As soon as he heard the first inklings of God's call, they expressed to love, the burning desire of his heart to see what God was asking of him, so that he might do it without delay, lovingly fulfilling the Lord's will. The third aspiration, Omnis cum Petro ad Jesum per Mariam, altogether with Peter to Jesus through Mary, appears frequently in his writings as a young priest and shows how his zeal to win souls for God went hand in hand with both a firm determination to be faithful to the Church and an ardent devotion to Mary, the Virgin Mother of God. Regenier Christum Volmus, we want Christ to reign. These words aptly expressed his constant pastoral concern spread among all men and women the call to share, through Christ, the dignity of God's children. God's sons and daughters should live for the purpose to serve him alone. Deu omnis gloria, all glory to God. St. Josemaria Escriva also had quite a large devotion to the liturgy. One of my favorite quotes of his about the liturgy is, you say the Mass is long. I reply, it is because your love is short. He said of the liturgy, that is the source and summit of the Christian interior life, which is very similar to the quotation of the Catechism that the Eucharist is the source and summit of the Christian life. Saint Josemaria strove very devoutly to do what Vatican II prescribed in regard to liturgy. He struggled with liturgical changes and missed a lot of things from the old Mass, especially some gestures, such as kissing the paten, a small plate, usually made of silver or gold, used to hold the Eucharistic bread. He prohibited his devotees to ask for any dispensations for him out of a spirit of obedience to ecclesiastical norms. I find this quite striking right now, especially with a lot of radical traditionalists who find Vatican II and the Novus Ordo to be an affront or contrary to this old rite. For Saint Josemaria Escriva personally struggled with this, but out of obedience to the council and the Pope, he he as a close friend of his commented that he decided to show his love for the liturgy through the new rite. So I think we ought to invoke his intercession during this time of quote unquote liturgy wars. So now that we've looked at his life, let's look at how the way was written. The way was composed and the details let's look at how the way was composed and the details surrounding it. The book was written in 1934, and more than 4.5 million copies have been sold in 43 different languages. According to Escriva, his motivation was the 99 points which make the 99 points which make up the way were written with yearnings to see Christ, the light of the world. Anyone who reads with the same yearnings will not have opened the book in vain. St. Josemaria said in the introduction of the way that he won't be telling us anything new, and and that what he had to say was as old as the gospel and just as new. He stated that the notes he was putting together The way is composed of 999 notes and recommendations. He said that these notes were only useful to certain souls who, one, who really want one, an interior life, and two, excel in their professional work because this is a serious obligation. Again, we can come back to his general call of the laity to be holy, and that it was the small things, your daily tasks, which sanctify you. 8 years before the composition of the way, he stated, I would like to write books of fire, which would run like wildfire throughout the world, which I believe this that's the end of the quote, which I believe is exactly what the book is. It is a book of fire. So now you might be thinking to yourself, what the heck is this image upon my screen? Well, we have a sponsor. You might be thinking to yourself, Sam, you have 4 subscribers. How? It's not a sponsor. They told me no, and I said, too bad. So the sponsor today is the Nova Rome Discord server. It's a Catholic Discord server. It is great. There is beautiful fellowship here. I'll put a description to join down below. It's a great community. The we see this. It's a fun community of just Catholics having a good time, but we strengthen each other. There is a Catholic entertainment log that says, okay, here's all this entertainment. Is it good or bad? But also, there's some wackiness. If you look at this is some wacky stuff on the starboard, but yet it's here. And the community is just great. I recommend you looking at it. I will put a link for it down in the description below. So the 99 points were not written in chapters. They were not even written together. They were written one at a time with careful thought in notebooks, diaries, and loose slips of paper. So guys, I can't wait to dig into this book with y'all. And I leave you with the advice that Saint Josemaria Escriva gave to a young architect in Madrid. May you seek Christ. May you find Christ. May you love Christ.